Hello, my name is Runa Chatterjee, and today I am going to perform several descriptive analysis on the data that I have received from biology benchmark at my high school. My first research question is, what was the average score of students according to the teacher? So let me take you to the Excel sheet where I have that information. So column B shows individual student scores. It's a set of 500 student scores. And on the right, you're looking at a table with biology benchmark scores distributed according to the TEKS 6A, 6C, and 6E. Here, the teachers I am going to call them teacher 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the first exercise I will do is that I will calculate the average score of the students that were taught by this teacher. So I go here on the top on the summation sign, click the average, and I have this average over here. So 61 was the average score of the students taught by teacher 1. Similarly, I could drag this down and it would give me the averages of all of these teachers. No, it changed everything. So I'm going to go back and I will do the individual averages. Average. Let me see if I try it. I try again and I get what I wanted to. Okay, there it is. And now I will try to get an average of the entire school on TEKS A, 6C, and 6E. So I will do the same operation here. 55.2. And now, if I drag it over here, let's see what it does. All right, so it calculated for me the averages of all the TEKS. I think I'm missing one average here. That changes the score. All right, now one more thing that I would like to do here. You see how some of them have 2 places after the decimal? We want to make everything uniform. So, not table, format cells. We want to go to the number. We want all the numbers to 1 decimal place. There, I like it better now. So I have answered my first research question, which was what was the average score of students according to the teacher. The second thing I want to work on is how were the comparative scores of all teachers in different TEKS and the school average. So we will go back to the Excel. What I'm going to do here is I will copy the values from here and let me go to another sheet and paste the values just so I can have different calculations on different sheets. So my research question again is, how were the comparative scores of all teachers in different TEKS and the school average? So I will select all of these cells, go to insert. I want to insert a chart, and that's how I want to see the comparative scores. So let me go to the recommended charts. I like the option 3, where I not only see all the teachers' performances side by side, I also see a trend line, which is the school average. So I'm going to go and select that. Let's place it at a good spot. So my chart title, I want to change it to comparative analysis. So we're looking at teacher 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So in TEKS 6A, the concern that we see is teacher 3. In 6C, the concern that we see was teacher 5. Again, teacher 3, and so on. So looking at this, we can see which students performed above or below the average. So that was my second research question. How were the comparative scores? Going on to the third one, what was the frequency of students in different performance bands? So here I will attempt to make class intervals. So I'll go back to the first sheet and I'm going to copy the values of all of the students and make another okay, I need to go back and copy again. Go to sheet 3. No, here. We can't miss it. This one's the basic. Okay, I did select one cell. Okay, I'm going to pause this video here, figure this out, or maybe I'll just figure it out while it's recording. There you go. So my purpose here is to make some class intervals and see how many students fell into a certain class interval, which we are also going to call performance bands. That is a term that is used in our school. So for making those class intervals, I need to have an upper and a lower limit. Now, since this test was scored from 0 to 100, I'm going to give it those starting from 0 to 100, I'm going to make my intervals between those two limits. So we will call this class intervals. My first interval, I want it to be 0 to 25. And the last one. So for making a histogram with class intervals, I need to create bins with the upper limits. And now let us go to data analysis. We will pick histogram. Okay. So my input range is going to be the entire set of 500 student scores. So this is the range of the student scores. For bins, I need to pick the values from here. Let me do this again because I think all the values were already selected and I didn't get to show all of my steps. So please bear with me. Data analysis, histogram. Okay, my input scores are selected. My bin range is selected. My label is checked because the first row it contains non-numeric data and I want a chart input. So I have now frequency of number of students who performed in this class interval. So just to make it a little more neat and clearer, I'm going to copy these values over here. And I'll copy the frequencies over here. And we will call this column frequency, make it nicely formatted. And now I will bring this histogram and try to format it to the point where it does not have any spaces between the columns. We also want these values to be centrally aligned. And we want these to be bolded because they are titles, headers. Okay, so working with the histogram, I want to get rid of the space between these columns. So I will go to chart design, go to quick layout, and I will choose histogram. And now I want to be able to separate one interval from the other. I will pick solid line. Okay, no, I'm not putting a solid line around the whole thing. I want to select the histogram itself. Border with a solid line. That's what I want. And then my title would be Performance Bands Frequency. And instead of bin, I'm going to call it Performance Bands and Frequency. Yes. Trying to move the histogram. So I have a pictorial representation of how many students performed in different class intervals, but I don't see intervals at the bottom. Instead, I see the upper limit. So I'm going to do the same exercise with this data. And now insert recommended chart. No, I will insert a column chart and then do the same exercise of converting it into a histogram. That's my histogram. I would like to, no, not the colors. We want here to be a nice separation. Yes. So I did not want a histogram with only the upper limit range. I wanted it to be with a whole class interval. So again, instead of frequency, I'm going to call it performance band frequency. This is going to be the class intervals. And this is going to be scores. Yeah, this is a true representation of how many students performed within this performance band. So we have maximum number of students between 51 and 75, and the one closest